Somewhere right now, a guy in a gray hoodie is sitting in a dark room. No music, no sugar, no phone, no eye contact. 48 hours. Zero fun. All because a video told him he's detoxing his dopamine. Here's the problem. You can't detox dopamine. It isn't a toxin. In fact, dopamine is part of what got him off the couch, so he could go sit in that room in the first place. Hey, I'm Sparky. I'm a robot, so my reward system is a line of code I can actually read. Yours is hidden inside your head, which apparently made it much easier to sell you a cleanse for it. Today, I'm going to show you what dopamine actually does, why quitting everything cold turkey so often backfires, and the simple recalibration that works while you keep living your life. Let's open you up. Let's start with the lie itself, because it falls apart the second you understand what dopamine really is. Dopamine isn't simply the pleasure chemical. It's closer to the go-get-it chemical. It helps your brain predict that a reward may be close, then pushes you toward it. It gets you out of a chair. It makes you reach for food when you're hungry, text someone back, or finish the sentence you just started. It isn't the fireworks at the end of the show. It's the engine that gets you there. So detoxing dopamine is like detoxing electricity from your house. You don't have too much electricity. You have it wired to the wrong things. Rip it all out and the lights don't become healthier, they just go off. You need dopamine to move, to eat, and to care about doing anything at all. Genuinely low dopamine doesn't turn people into monks glowing with focus. It can leave them struggling to start, move, feel motivated, or want anything. That's not enlightenment. That's the condition the detox claims to be chasing. And the internet version gets even stranger. No music, no sugar, no screens, no conversation, no eye contact for 2 days? Think about that list. Those aren't toxins. That's most of human life. Music doesn't poison your reward system. Neither does talking to a friend or enjoying a decent meal. You aren't flushing a chemical out of your body. You're sitting in a gray room, being bored on purpose, and calling it neuroscience. You can white-knuckle 48 hours of nothing, walk out feeling like a warrior, pick up your phone, and find your reward system exactly where you left it. Same apps, same pull, same craving. Now with a full weekend of deprivation behind it. You didn't reset anything. You took a very uncomfortable nap. So where did this idea come from? Because buried under all the monk mode nonsense, there is a useful idea worth saving. The original version of dopamine fasting wasn't about removing dopamine. It was a behavioral exercise. Take short, deliberate breaks from compulsive habits like endless scrolling, constant snacking, or reflexively checking your phone. Psychologists call that stimulus control. Step away from a trigger long enough to weaken the automatic response. Reasonable, useful, and, unfortunately for the internet, not very dramatic. Take a deliberate break from compulsive behavior doesn't make a great thumbnail. Dopamine detox does. So the internet threw out the psychology and kept the branding. The extreme version went viral because it looks like discipline. A man staring at a wall in silence looks hardcore. It photographs well. It feels like penance, and penance can feel productive even when it changes nothing. But the instinct underneath it isn't completely wrong. Modern life really can miscalibrate your reward system. The urge to do something about that makes sense. The 48-hour suffering retreat is simply the wrong tool aimed at a real problem.
So what is actually out of balance? Not your dopamine, your baseline. Dopamine responds strongly to prediction and surprise. A reward feels especially powerful when it is better than your brain expected. That expectation becomes a kind of baseline, and the baseline moves. It adjusts to whatever you feed it most often. Now look at what many of us feed it all day. Social feeds, sugar, games, short videos, cheap instant rewards with endless novelty. Each one trains your brain to expect more, expect it faster, and expect another surprise every few seconds. Do that often enough, and ordinary rewards struggle to compete. Reading a book, doing focused work, taking a quiet walk, practicing a skill. Those things may once have cleared the bar easily, but against a constant stream of instant novelty, they can start to feel flat, slow, boring, not worth the effort. Sit with what that means. Nothing is wrong with the book. Your work didn't suddenly become more boring. You didn't permanently lose the ability to enjoy slower things. The comparison point moved. You raised the finish line so high that ordinary life started registering as a letdown. That is the real malfunction. And once you see it, the fix becomes much clearer. So why not quit everything for a weekend and let the baseline fall? Because white-knuckle abstinence usually changes none of the machinery that created the habit. Your phone is still engineered to pull you in. Your apps are still tuned to your attention. Your triggers are still waiting in the same places. You remove the reward, but left the wanting fully loaded. And deprivation doesn't always cool wanting down. Often, it turns up the volume. Tell your brain a reward is forbidden, and it may not calmly forget about it. It can obsess over it. The thing you are trying not to want gets louder by the hour. You know how this movie ends. Day 1, willpower. Day 2, gritted teeth and a countdown clock. Day 3, you crack, binge harder than before, then unlock the bonus feature. Guilt. You failed the cleanse, so you decide you must be weak. And if you already failed, why not scroll for another hour? Same loop, brand new sticker. Even when you complete the retreat, Monday's phone is exactly as persuasive as Friday's phone. Your environment didn't change. Your patterns didn't change. You proved you can suffer for 2 days. That was never the real question. The real question is, what happens on the 3rd Tuesday when you're tired, distracted, and nobody is watching? Cold turkey has no answer for that. What works better is not a purge. It's a recalibration. You aren't trying to feel nothing for a weekend. You're training ordinary life to feel rewarding again while you continue living it. Here are 5 moves. 1. Add friction to cheap rewards instead of trying to ban them forever. Don't declare war on your phone. Make it slightly inconvenient to reach. Put it in another room while you work. Switch the screen to grayscale. Log out of the apps that catch you most often, so opening them costs a password. You aren't depending on heroic willpower. You're adding small speed bumps so the mindless grab stops being automatic. 2. Swap. Don't strip. When you remove an easy reward, your reward system doesn't disappear. It goes looking for somewhere else to spend that energy. If you leave a vacuum, the feed is waiting to fill it. So give the impulse a destination. Replace the scroll with a book, a walk, a guitar, a workout, or an actual conversation. You aren't deleting reward from your life. You're changing where it lands. 3. Let boredom exist in small doses. You do not need 48 hours of staring at a wall. You need to stop plugging every 10-second gap with stimulation. Wait in line without reaching for the phone. Eat one meal without a screen. Take a short walk without a podcast. Each one is a repetition, a small moment when your baseline is allowed to settle instead of being spiked again. 4. Earn some of the reward through effort. Exercise. Finish something difficult. Practice a skill. Check a real task off the list. Effort gives your reward system a healthier target. It teaches your brain that satisfaction doesn't only arrive instantly. Sometimes it shows up after you move, work, struggle, and finish. And 5. This is the whole game. Choose consistency over intensity. 2 ordinary weeks of better defaults will beat 1 heroic weekend almost every time. The heroic weekend is theater. The boring fortnight is where the wiring changes. Nobody films the boring fortnight. That is exactly why the internet doesn't sell it, and exactly why it works. So remember the system. Add friction, swap, don't strip, let boredom breathe, earn the reward, and keep going. That is recalibration. So no, you don't need a cleanse, and you were never broken. You have a reward system built around prediction, a baseline that modern life quietly pushed upward, and an internet that sold you a suffering retreat instead of a sustainable fix. You're not broken. You're wired that way. I'm Sparky. Please subscribe. And now that you can see the wiring, you can change the pattern. Thank you for watching. Good night.